Big game in the Big East Big 12 battle. It was a top 12 matchup between Marquette and Texas. And Mac, it did not look like a top 12 matchup once you got about halfway through the first half. Marquette won 86-65 behind a 28-point, 8 rebound, 6 assists, 3 steal performance from first team All-American preseason Big East Player of the Year, Tyler Kolek. Oh, man, that's an impressive performance from Marquette tonight, bouncing back from a loss at Wisconsin. What'd you make of the Golden Eagles tonight, Mac?
I just think they're as good as advertised. I know they took one on the chin, the other day against Wisconsin, but just watching them tonight, in about the 10-minute mark in the first half, it just became all Golden Eagles. And to me, I know we keep saying it because he's a special player. He plays with his own pace. He never gets sped up. And because of that, he's able to see the floor so well. He's able to put the defense in places they shouldn't be, up in the air. He gets in the air himself. He draws 2, he draws 3, he finds Iguodaro. He finds Cam Jones in the corner. He scores it. He's unique. He is really good. And the pace he plays at, you don't see a whole lot in college. And I think that's what makes him, the best point guard in the country. Texas, I don't see it right now for them. I think they haven't played the schedule that a lot of the top teams in the country have. I think their best win so far is Wyoming at home. On paper, I think they looked apart. But they're going to need some more scoring out of, besides Max Abrams. I think Tyrese Hunter, I was expecting a little bit more, and I think he'll get it together. I just think of him as a Big 12, all Big 12 type player. But, they came unglued there in the second half. And Marquette has a lot to do with it. But, just watching some of these games over the last few weeks, I don't think Texas is in the ilk of some of the teams that we've been talking about. And their schedule to date doesn't reflect that as well. So, I wasn't surprised by the score, especially Marquette coming off that tough loss against interstate rival Wisconsin. But to me, Marquette's all about how Tyler makes them go.
Tyler, I want to hit you on this about Marquette. That Marquette-Wisconsin rivalry is, in this state of Wisconsin, more or less what Duke, North Carolina is in the state of North Carolina. When you lose a game like that, when you lose a rivalry game, what does that do to the guys in the locker room? What does that do to the players on the team?
Well, you hope that when you lose to your rival that it kind of refocuses the team. I think sometimes how you handle losing and what you learn from losing is going to dictate how you move forward as a team, especially if you lose against a rival. You want to look at film, see what you didn't do right. And I can tell you, whenever you're playing your rival, sometimes guys get overly excited, and that can work against you. Your shot can be off. You can make some mistakes just because of nerves or because of your adrenaline, and you're ready to go and you want to win. That can be counterproductive. But it's when you lose to a rival, hopefully you get to play them again in the same year. But obviously they're different conferences. But yeah, it makes you refocus and look at what you can do better going forward.
Yeah, Mac, Tyler Kolek, 28, 8, 6, 3 steals, 11 from the floor. This is coming a night after we all just called Tristan Newton one of the best point guards in college basketball. It comes 5 days after he went for 31 in the Fog in a losing effort. I'm gun to your head right now, today. You have to pick one of them, Tyler Kolek, Tristan Newton, to run your basketball team and your basketball program. Who are you taking?
I'm probably going with Kolek, and I only say that because I do feel like
back.
I know, but I'll say this: I think Connecticut's got better parts. As much as I love Marquette, I think obviously Klingen's so unique. He's so big. Cam Spencer. Those guys obviously put it on Carolina last night. I think he's got better parts. I do think, in my heart of hearts, I think Kolek is a better point guard, and but. Again, you're talking about Mercedes-Benz, BMW, whatever your preference is. Both of those guys are elite in the college game this year for sure.
Tyler, who are you taking?
I'm taking
And
Kolek.
don't let last night bias you. Don't let last night sway
No,
your
it's
decision.
not. I actually thought we did okay on Newton. Is the Cam Spencer, who went off on us. But no, I like Kolek. And tonight I was watching the game at Texas. It's the timeout right before the end of the first half, where Shaka called a timeout to try to get a play. They come back out, and he just shoots, a three about 6 or 7 feet behind the 3-point line. He plays with so much confidence, and he gets everyone involved. I do like Newton, but personal preference, Kolek would be my choice.
Is that, Tyler? Does that mean that you have Marquette as the best team in the Big East right now? I think that's the big conversation for me at this point, when it comes to who is winning that conference. And look, I am admittedly biased in this conversation, but I do think I'm at the point where I do think UConn is a little bit better because I think they have a higher floor than Marquette does.
Yeah, and you're gonna make me dislike UConn as much as you want to rub it in, but I think that UConn is the best team right now in the Big East. They lost. Their only loss is to Kansas at Kansas, which, if you're gonna count quality losses, that's about as quality of a loss as you can have. They have pieces. Even Klingon, I don't even think Klingon's all the way healthy right now. And I think when he gets healthy and gets more minutes, we're going to really see what he's about. But, yeah, overall, UConn, I was watching the game last night, and I couldn't believe how hard they played. It was like a dogfight. And I was telling my friends, I was like, man, I would love for this to be a rival. We go play them in the Garden every single year. I like the atmosphere, and I love how hard they play. And also that style offensively makes you work on defense to guard them as much as they move without the ball, and that wears down teams. And over time, in the second half, kind of like they took advantage of us last night, teams are going to tire down.
I am really intrigued to see how those two teams end up playing each other, right? Because I do think the things that Marquette does well, Matt can kind of take away the things that UConn does well, and vice versa a little bit there. It's just a very interesting matchup when those two teams get together. And I don't know if you're going to find two teams that play harder than those two teams. And it just, I can't wait to get to that. They have 2 games in the last 6 games. They play twice in the last 6 games of the regular season this year. I think that's must-see TV in my mind, Mac.
For sure, man. Like that's going to be 2 heavyweights. I mean, like I could see both of those games, just the atmosphere at Marquette, the atmosphere at UConn. They're going to be off the charts because I think those 2 teams are as good as the Big East is. There's a big separator from those 2 and the rest of the 8, or the rest of the 9, I should say. I feel like they're probably going to hold serve at home. I think the crowds are going to be so electric, and the game's just going to be off the charts. It's going to be interesting if they actually get to match up like they did a year ago in MSG, see who comes out on top. I do think that Connecticut is the better team. I'll say this about UConn. The fact that Danny's team is playing this hard, there's been no celebratory first month or 2 of the season, still talking about last year's championship. The hunger that those guys are playing with is evident when you watch them play. The nastiness, and I think obviously that comes from Hurley and his staff, in my opinion. Danny's such a gamer. He's nasty. He doesn't even say hi to you when you see him at a recruiting event. Like, he is just wired to try to kick somebody's ass, and I don't think that's changing. And so those 2 teams are going to battle it out to the end. I think they're clearly the 2 best teams in the Big East. I'm not saying anything that anybody else doesn't know, but it's going to be fun. I didn't realize that they were 2 of their 2 games are in the last 6. That's going to be some heavyweight fighting right there. And then you're talking about Big East tournament right around the corner at the end. That's 3 times you play them in the last month.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm speaking from as like a Big East homer here and as the UConn fan on this show, I cannot wait for those games. It's going to be a lot of fun.